Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again to our project in the Berkshires. As often happens in the construction business, we're between a rock and a hard place. This is our final visit to this project. It will not be completed in time for our needs. Today we're going to take a look around, and we're going to take you to Spring Lawn Mansion, one of the original cottages in the Berkshires, which is reinventing itself as a Shakespearean center. Stick around. It's good to have you home again. Although the exterior of our house is very, very complete and tight to the weather, the inside is 2 months behind schedule. Some of the things are going in as we speak. We've got our beautiful wood port doors that are being installed, some of them at least, and these are MDF doors with a nice paneled look. And I'm very excited about the M-Tech doorknobs. This is a company that's recreating some of the high-quality hardware of the early 20th century in America. I love the glass knobs. Other features are in. I mean, our staircase was built in place at Simplex Industries, the modular home company, but the detailing, like the spindles on the banister, have been applied here on the job. And in the main room here, though, you get a better idea of how far behind things are. Some of the rough hasn't been completed, never mind the finish. There's a great deal of warehouse use to the space, in that much of what you see here just is waiting to be installed. And the dining area has, again, just become our warehouse area. The kitchen's incomplete. In fact, we've got all the materials here. Here's some of that Category 5 wire. Most of the house had it pre-installed at Simplex. This is for the basement. Watch this. We'll learn a little bit about how the Cat 5 got integrated into the Simplex construction. So, Joe, we don't often think of modular housing having high technology installations. What are we looking at here?
Bob, we're looking at a structured media control panel for structured wiring for all types of phone and data distribution for high-speed internet.
High-speed internet.
Sure. Cable, TV, DSS splitters. All kinds of technology.
And it all really hinges on using this type of cable that you've got here,
This is a cable that we're using. It has 4 conductors in it. 2 of them are coax.
What does that mean, 2 are coax?
Coax is used for your satellite TV or your cable TV.
Right.
It can also be used as an input and an output.
Okay.
And then you have 2 Cat 5e cables, which again can be used for phone lines or data lines, and can also be used for inputs and outputs.
When you say data lines, you mean computer?
Correct.
Fantastic.
Yes. For you can network your home computers with this system.
Now, are there, I mean, we're building boxes essentially, modules that are then plugged together. Do you then have to plug lengths of wire together, and wouldn't that affect the quality?
No, Bob. What we do here is we set this up for each box to have its wire running as a home run.
Ah.
And that enables us to coil it up in advance, and we measure our length, make sure it's right, and when it's on site, we just pull it out and bring it right in, just like a stick-built house.
So it is just like a stick-built house once we've got it on the lot.
Sure.
Great. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
It's amazing how many components of the house were put together at Simplex, including all the Marilette cabinets in the kitchen back here and the island. And of course, we've got all the other materials here, including my paints, but nothing's been installed. And in the real world, when a house project gets delayed by a month or 2 or 3, the family just can't move in. But in the world of TV shows, we don't have that freedom. We've got to come on air with some content. But to get a better idea of what's happened here, I decided we'd sit down with our contractor, Mike Shields. Watch. Michael Shields has been in business in the Berkshires for over 25 years here on Route 7 in Sheffield, building custom homes, specializing in timber frames and stick-built. And we're visiting at his recently built office building, and it is a beauty.
Thank you.
I'm very fond of it.
Thank you.
Now, just to talk for a couple of minutes about what's happened with our project here. You know, we were really keen on the modular idea, and we saw it go up so quickly that we were all very, very impressed.
Yes.
But now we're a couple of months behind, and it's kind of making it impossible for the TV show to stay with it. What happened?
Well, the scope of the project grew significantly from when we first got on board. The owner, designer changed a lot of things, changed some of the interior components. So based on that, schedules change. His budget really didn't meet his changes. And we tried to accommodate him, but trying to keep up with timing, budget, it was a real stumbling block.
But it will get finished. We
Oh,
just
yes.
won't see it.
Oh, yes.
And this is, you know, in reality television, this is the biggest stumbling block of any family trying to accomplish a remodel or a new construction. That as the process evolves, they keep adding to it,
Yes.
or they keep embellishing it, or they keep making it larger. But the budget, the money they've got, doesn't necessarily grow along with their aspirations.
That's right. Yeah, with different product lines that they bought in and had changes along the way, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Great working with you, Mike. Thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll be at the Spring Lawn Mansion in Lenox to find out about Shakespeare and Company. The beautiful Berkshire Hills are dotted with many fantastic cottages and estates, all of them from the Gilded Age. We think of Newport, Rhode Island as being the home of the 400 in the summertime, but many folks came here. We're in the town of Lenox, Massachusetts. And in this town, in 1897, Ventfort Hall was built for a man named George Morgan. It recently saw an adaptive reuse as the main character or location in the movie Cider House Rules. A mansion called Bellefontaine from 1897 was designed on the original Petit Trianon. It's now the home of the Canyon Ranch Spa. Wheatley, a famous property from 1892, designed in the Italianate style by Peabody and Stearns, has been a successful inn for many years. And Spring Lawn, also here in Lenox, also in the Italianate style, dating to 1904. It's done duty in several adaptive reincarnations as a boys' school for numerous decades, and now it's the home of Shakespeare and Company. Let's go inside and meet Tina Packer, who founded it, and learn more about it. And hello, Tina. What a wonderful staircase.
Hi, Bob. Isn't it a terrific staircase?
It's fabulous. I've been told that it was inspired by Hampton Court, Henry VIII's place.
Well, so they say, and it's certainly being used right now in a play which has connections to Henry VIII, so I think it's kind of appropriate.
It's appropriate indeed.
Yes.
This is a house from 1904,
Yeah.
and it was the first house designed by a young Cambridge architect in Massachusetts. Guy Lowell.
Of the famous Lowell family, but he built the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, and he also built the courthouse in New York City, as well as hundreds of other private residences. But this was the very first private residence, well, the very first building he ever built. It's a theatre, amongst other things today, and we also throw a lot of our big parties here and so on and so forth.
Now, you came to the Berkshires and started Shakespeare and Company, what,
26 years ago.
26 years ago, and it didn't start here. It started
No, it started at the Mount, Edith Wharton's house.
which is the home that we visited earlier in the season.
So when I came here in '78, obviously I came from England, and I wanted to start a theatre company.
Right.
And somebody said to me, "Oh, you should do it in the Berkshires. There's a classical music with the Boston Symphony. There's a dance anthem, a Jacob's Pillow. We should stick a theatre in the middle."
Culture.
Yes, there's culture, and you'll be able to have an audience there. I didn't want to be in either London or New York, which was where I'd been living before, because I wanted to live in a community, because I was so idealistic. I wanted to see, could a classical theatre company really affect a community? And so we moved into the Berkshires at somebody's suggestion. I love it here. It's a fantastic place to live.
And the house itself, as you said, serves as a performance space. Is there
Yes.
a room that's big enough to be a
Yes,
theater?
there is, a 99-seat theatre in the salon.
This was originally the main salon in the house.
That's right.
Okay.
And so we do mostly plays from the turn of the century, about the same time that the play was built.
I see.
Some modern plays as well. I mean, for instance, right now we're doing Lettuce and Lovage, which is a Peter Schaffer play, which is why we're using the stairs as part of the set, and then we go into the theatre after that.
Now, this is not all there is, though. You've got a huge campus here for educational purposes as well as performance purposes.
I mean, one of the things, we have 64 acres, and it's going to be an international centre for Shakespeare performance and studies. So we don't just perform, Bob, we do a huge education program, which maybe you have time to go and see.
Yes.
All the high school students in our wonderful Founders Theatre, which is just here. The Founders Theatre was a Quonset hut, or Nissen hut you might call it, in which we adapted and made into the most beautiful theatre out of canvas and scaffolding. I hope you'll get a chance to see that.
This building here is also a historic building,
That's a
right?
McKim-Meaden White building. It's St. Martin's. It's a dorm building built by the Lennox School for Boys, which in fact put 3 estates together in 1938.
And that was a previous adaptive reuse of the estate.
Yes, that's a previous adaptive reuse of the estate. We're actually, well, here we have a lot of old farm buildings and the old field house. We're going to turn that, there's going to be a small theatre in there, but it's principally going to be the village that surrounds the Rose Playhouse, which I will tell you about next. But it's going to be a place where people will meet, greet, and have an exhibit space on Shakespeare's life, times, and the Rose Theatre.
But let's talk about the Rose Theatre, because that's the big plan for this place.
This is the big plan, and it's a few years away yet. It's going to be an authentic recreation of the 1587 Rose Playhouse. That's the precursor to the Globe.
To the Globe.
Which they've built in London. So we've been working with the Museum of London, and they now have done all their research that they did for 10 years. They researched the foundations, and now they've disseminated the information. So we have all that information. So we're going to do the most accurate recreation possible, which means the original tools, the original materials, everything as close as it can be to the original.
And you've already started experimenting with thatch. Can we go take a look?
We can go take a look.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Next, we'll learn more details about the plans for building the Rose Theatre. Stick around. Tina, these are the former playing grounds from when there was a boys' prep school here.
That's right, that's right. And as you can see, we've still got the soccer field out there.
Yeah, and this mock-up is...
This is the Rose Footprint Theatre. We call it the footprint because it is the footprint of the thing itself. And when it's built, it will be just a little larger than this, but not very much.
But of course going up...
Going up as really as tall as that building over there. It'll be the same height, 33 feet, something like that.
What is that building? It's rather picturesque.
It is, isn't it? It's an old farmhouse carriage barn, and it's probably the oldest building on the property. We are going to convert it into a museum space and into a theatre and into dressing rooms for the Rose Theatre itself when it gets going.
There are so many picturesque ruins in the Berkshires.
Aren't there?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Let's get closer to this, because
right.
you were telling us that you've been experimenting with different building materials that would have been used in the 16th century.
Yes, because obviously the Berkshires in the year 2003, 4, 5 is very different climate than London way back in the 16th century. So we need to build a thatch and different plasters so that you can see how it's going to weather.
I see.
We can't build it exactly like they had it because our winters are different and we're different and a different position on the globe.
And where do you get thatch craftsmen?
From Plymouth Plantation.
In Massachusetts.
Where else?
Yes.
Yes.
On Cape Cod, where we've recreated, or in Plymouth actually, not on Cape Cod.
Yes.
Where they've recreated many early buildings from the
Yes.
1600s.
Yes, and it's so wonderful to have actually you know, a body of knowledge here. No, it's not all across the pond.
No, exactly.
There's some of it here as well.
Exactly.
And let me introduce you to Mel Cobb.
Hi, Mel. How are you?
Mel came to us from the Globe in England.
Oh.
And he helped build the Globe there. He came over here. He happens to be an actor as well.
I get
so
it.
he's part of our team.
So you're an actor-builder.
An actor apprentice.
Like the
I'm kind of a builder-actor, so I can understand. Yeah.
But the Burbages were, in Shakespeare's Company, they were the builders of the theatre as well as the actors in the theatre.
Great.
So, you know,
Sure.
we're just continuing the tradition.
So Mel, is the thatch something that you pick up over here in America, or do you have to bring this stuff over from England?
Actually, this is something, one of the matters that we were experimenting with. We actually grew this particular thatch, which is rye wheat, from seed over in Altamont, New York, on a farm there. We had a gentleman called Everett Rao who decided he wanted to grow it for us. So we have grown this from seed.
Okay, and so they're basically using the same old techniques.
Exactly. Stuart Bolton and Michael Burry Stuart from Plymouth Plantation, Michael from Plymouth Plantation, previously now an independent artisan,
Yeah.
and our designated Rose Playhouse artisan.
It looks very good. What about the plaster that's being used? I notice over there you've got some samples.
Yes.
Is it mud and wattle or?
Yes, wattle and daub, and the
Wattle
answer to
and
that is
daub,
no.
thank you. Yeah.
This is lath end plaster. One of the things that was concluded about the Globe Theater was that they wouldn't have used wattle and daub in the inner city because the materials for the wattle just simply wasn't available.
Oh, okay.
So they would have hand split the laths and done that system as opposed to wattle and daub. And what we've done here, as Tina mentioned earlier, is that we've experimented with 4 different mixes of the genre, which is called lime plaster, basics of which are just simply sand, lime putty, and animal hair. This particular panel, both inside and out, upper and lower, is the original mix that we used on the Globe and that we would like to use on the Rose.
All right. Well, it seems like a very ambitious project. You figure a couple of years at least, right?
Absolutely. We're not ready to open next week.
Good luck. Tina, is this the former Quonset that
This
has
is
been
the
turned
former
into...
Quonset hut that now is our Founders Theatre. And it's a wonderful theatre, 450-seat theatre. As you can see, it is a Quonset hut, an old gymnasium they used it for, and other things. And the architect, George Marsh of Payette, put on a skirt, a whole bar, you know, a concession area.
Let's
and
look
inside
yeah.
is a wonderful, wonderful space.
Left shoulder, cut. Right shoulder, cut. Left knee.
So, Tina, Shakespeare and Company is more than just a performing arts operation. It's a
Yes.
teaching operation as well.
Yes. We teach high school students, we teach teachers themselves, we teach actors, we teach directors, we teach just about everybody. And really, what you're seeing here is that Kevin is teaching these students from Lee High School and Lenox High School the basics of Elizabethan fighting. So
Of Elizabethan fighting, yes.
Yes, so we're doing a festival of high school plays right now, and there are always fights in Shakespeare's plays, so everybody needs to understand the basics of fighting. But it also means you learn to look after other people because you're doing violent things, but you have to be very careful with them, not really hurt them.
Violence without hurting them.
That's right,
But what's
yes.
really exciting is that acting and life is very much in these old places here in the
Absolutely,
Berkshires.
absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
thank
good
you.
luck with your building project.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being with you.
Next, we'll visit the restoration of Elm Court, the largest shingle-style house in America. This is Elm Court. It was built by William Douglas Sloan and his bride, Emily Vanderbilt, in 1886. And it's a wonderful example of preservation, some adaptive reuse, but not necessarily converting a building into a school or a performing arts center. This is still a family home. We're going to be taking a closer look in the next few weeks at how it's being salvaged. But let me tell you a little bit about what you're looking at here. This is a shingle-style house, and it is the largest shingle-style house in America. It started out as a 17,000 square foot home that grew to 70,000. And over the course of the years when the family summered here, sometimes there were 70 members of the family in residence. In fact, they added a wing here, which is known as the bachelor's wing, and part of it has been restored on this side. This side really looks wonderful with all its turrets and the porte-cochere and all the different roof lines, etc. But over here you still see some of the shingle work that has survived, although it still needs a little bit of restoration. The most interesting thing that I think we'll find here is the fact that the 4th generation descendant, the great-great-grandson of the original owners, has managed to get a hold of the property again, and he and his young wife and their 3 daughters are residing here. They're turning it into a facility where people can come and get married, people can come and stay, but they're also doing a real hands-on restoration of the whole property, working at it themselves. Next week, we'll give you a real close-up look at some of the rooms that they've already recreated. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again. Looking for help on your next project? Visit bobvila.com for everything you need to get the job done right. You'll find Home Again highlights, interactive tools for planning your next project, and helpful how-to articles for every room in your home. bobvila.com, the ultimate home site.